What's up to all our sidekicks and hench So when I have my notes up, to read the intro, I StreamYard isn't up, so I can't see anything that's happening. All I heard was the blah, 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 blah. What's up?
I was trying to release the flavor crystals in the wine by gurgling it. That's a thing, right?
Yeah, that's how you
flavor
do it.
crystals in every wine.
Yeah. Oh, what's up to all our sidekicks and henchfolk out there in the mother-loving Geek Nation? You're currently tuning into the CultPop podcast live stream, aka spoiler alert, episode 751, where we will review the past week's comics as well as talk about some fun pop culture topics for your listening and viewing pleasure. Also, maybe your sipping pleasure. I'm currently enjoying Coke and maple bourbon butter pecan flavored rum. And as Noel said, that's a lot. It's a lot of...
How is it with the Coke, JD? This was a big thing right before the show.
I thank you for your input. It is delicious.
Thank you. Excellent.
I almost used ginger ale, and you guys were like, nah, Coke.
Yeah.
I'm your host, Johnny Destructo. With me this week is... what?
Noel was so bothered by the suggestion of ginger ale. He's out of the show.
Oh, did he leave? He's gone.
Yeah,
he's like, F this crap. Yeah. Oh, I got... Ooh, there's a mosquito.
Oh.
Get out of here. You can get
Does
my
mesquite
blood.
flavoring have anything to do? It's like crushed up mosquitoes, right? Mesquite flavoring?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
I'm your host, Johnny Destructo, owner of Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex, located at 4327 Main Street, Philadelphia, PA, a Perticule shop, which caters to nerdy and nerd-adjacent individuals of all shapes and sizes, sans poopy jerks who go on and on about jerky, poopy things that collectively make most people cringe. Sort out your lives, stinky heads, then come on by the shop. Wink. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say it or do it. I'm just going to do both. Wink.
I think both.
This is the part where I write anything in the script and JD reads it. If you want to get sticky and hot, go, get the shot. If you want to smash some dude named Scott, go, get the shot. Now, go get the shot. Go get the shot.
Okay.
Hold on. It continues.
Oh.
Girl, you looks good. Girl, you looks good. Won't you vax that thing up? Use a handsome young brother. Won't you vax that thing up? Yeah. Date in real life. You need to vax that thing up. Feeling freaky all night. You need to vax that thing up. And scene. Cool. With me this evening are people of which I am moderately fond. First up is Brian Lee. Brian.
Yeah.
What is your favorite comic or comic storyline featuring your least favorite character?
My favorite comic or comic storyline featuring my least favorite character.
Yeah, you flipped the script on you.
Who's my least favorite character? Oh, is it Punisher? Spawn? Who is it? I can't think of anything I've really liked with either of them in it. Oh, okay, here we go. I barely remember it. What if Punisher got the Venom symbiote, right? And that was some crazy stuff. And I think that's probably my favorite of those that I can remember. I'm in. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. He could shoot bullets made out of the symbiote, JT.
That's dumb.
He never ran out of bullets.
Noel's here too. Whoopity friggin' do. Hi.
Hi.
Anyway, thank you to everyone.
Hey, what's up, Noel?
I sorry to do this, but apparently everything crapped out during that whole introduction. So my microphone's not working. My headphones are barely working. The recording is terrible. So I might have to leave and I'll come right back.
Okay. I hope it works out.
So, that means the recording
Meanwhile, we'll take
trash.
some comments. Oh, shit. Meanwhile, we'll take some comments from the commenters. Mars Comics says, hello, JD. Hello, Brian. Hello, Noel. Where's
Hello,
Len?
Mars Comics.
Len could not be with us this evening because we are bad at communicating.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
we weren't
because
sure
he
if
didn't
we were
want
even...
to. I think is what it was.
Oh, that's also that.
Yeah. That was the driving force.
We weren't sure if we were going to do the show tonight because of the holiday, and I was out visiting my mom in New Jersey, and we went and saw Shang-Chi, and everything was up in the air. And at the very last minute, we're like, "Hey, what are we going to do a show? What's up?"
Then we're doing a show. Christopher Goodnight said, now, a lot of times we don't like to talk about things that are not the topic, but we don't really have a topic other than comments. And this is an ongoing story. He says, I actually liked the ending of Enterprise Season 3. The Xindi twist saved the season. And I'm glad, as we said before, like Season 3, definitely the high point of that show. And I'm glad you liked it. I don't exactly remember what the twist was, but I remember it was cool. It was cool, though.
Me neither. Yeah.
Well, have you seen it?
Yeah. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the
Discovery.
good one.
Discovery.
Yes.
Star Trek: The Next Generation. All the rest of them are good. It's just Enterprise that is only all right. But you watch Discovery.
Thank you, Discovery. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, Mars is saying hello to Christopher Goodnight. Christopher Goodnight says, my trip to Virginia got canceled along with the Killers concert I was going there for, so I bought 2 Jason Todd Red Hood figures I've been wanting. That's cool.
Nice. Yeah.
Oh, What If sucks, by the way? What?
Now, I assume you mean the show specifically and not like the what if concept of comics and whatever. But also, I'll second JD's. What?
What?
No, I'm loving it. Yeah, I really enjoy it. But I love
like
What
McDonald's.
If. Yeah, McDonald's is really enjoying the What If show.
Yeah.
And we're very similar in that way.
Yeah. It's What If sucks. Get the what?
Well, stick around though. But we love it.
Let's see. Anyway, thank you to everyone joining us live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. If you like what we're doing here, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. The joy of doing this live is hanging out with y'all in the chat and getting to chitty chat with all of you. So don't stop.
Yeah.
Don't stop believing.
Hey, JD, I have a question for you.
Oh, neat.
What about your least favorite character's most favorite appearance? Who's the least favorite character?
Least favorite character?
Yeah. We're not a big least favorite show.
Right.
So I had a hard time figuring that out too. Yeah.
I don't like Deadpool. All right.
Okay.
When the question was asked, the immediate thing that popped in my head was Deadpool, one of my least favorite characers, in Uncanny
X-Force.
Oh, that was a cool series. Yeah.
That was totally my answer if I was ever going to get to answer it. It was Deadpool, who I gave no shits about, but then Rick and Remender using him in X-Force.
That was the black and gray costumes, and they are in the future, and he's been in this like underground cell for like 100 years or whatever. Is that one?
Was there a future part to that? I don't know. It was maybe in the run eventually. I don't remember.
But it was the black and gray costumes with the red highlights. Yeah, that was a good run. Yeah.
Chris says, I'm in the minority talking about... No, you missed the hot take that Christopher dropped on us, which was, What If sucks?
By the way.
BT dubs.
Okay.
Yeah.
He says, I'm in the minority. I know. I hate that they leave it as a cliffhanger at the end of the episode, so we never get a resolution. What are you talking about? What cliffhangers?
Well,
there hasn't been a single cliffhanger, has there?
I wouldn't call them necessarily cliffhangers, but big teases, especially the one where episode 3, Fury's Big Week, does end in a pretty precarious...
But they all end like that, whereas the resolution happens, and if they wanted to, they can explore more. This most recent episode, if we're going to talk about it, the Doctor Strange one, it was the most like an actual What If comic, because the whole point of What If comics is to show you that what did transpire actually is the best way it could have gone down. So they're almost always terrible things happening to characters you love. Like the fact that the first episode was wonderful and made me feel good for the most part with Captain Carter was almost a misdirect, because What If is supposed to be your characters getting destroyed, right? And then episode 2 was which one?
That was T'Challa as Star-Lord.
Yeah,
also awesome.
Also great,
incredibly delightful. So I was like, all right, so they're doing this. But then the third and the fourth was like, oh, everyone gets killed. Things are terrible. This is awful. Yeah. Doctor Strange does this thing. I'm like, this feels more like What If now. Yeah. I don't consider those cliffhangers. They're just like,
And that is kind of a, if I'm remembering right, that is a common what if thing where, because these are one change within the Marvel universe or the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So part of it is like, and then the universe continues after that. You know, like these things happen, but this whole universe, the whole setup is now different. And also, I think they have said they're going to continue a couple of them in, and we may, who knows, we may see stuff in other movies.
I genuinely think that it's all. I think the second half of the season is going to be a mystery, or like, I think they're all going to connect in a way.
Possibly.
I can totally see a, you know, multiversal Avengers type of bullshit. I just think that it's not like the comics wise, they often don't touch each other, but you know, 20 billion MCU movies and TV shows now, and they make a point to make them connect in some fashion. I just think that it's going to go there eventually, you know, like maybe just for one episode or as a tease that, you know, Captain Carter will meet that version of Strange. I don't know why. I just think that that's going to happen. If it doesn't, though, I'm totally fine with that too.
He goes on to say the Doctor Strange one sucked the most because they took a character that was underused in the movie and then fridged her for 30 minutes. Christopher, 100% agree on this one. The entire time I'm like, this is what you're doing. You're just the Rachel McAdams. First of all, I remember going in to see Doctor Strange, the film, and being like, oh, Rachel McAdams, I wonder what we're going to do with her. Absolutely nothing. Not a goddamn thing. You could take every scene with Rachel McAdams out of it and you would have the same movie. I don't understand. They could have cast me. Like, why would you cast Rachel McAdams? She should be an MCU hero character, not a girlfriend with nothing to do. It just was so strange.
JD, you could be an MCU hero character too. Don't sell yourself short.
I agree that they underused her, but I don't think she was completely wasted and nothing to. I don't think that it's that binary that she was completely wasted and had nothing to do. She was pivotal for the character of Strange in the movies, but she was underutilized. So she wasn't useless and wasted. I don't think that it's like that much of a roller coaster to the other end. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would have liked to have seen more of her, but she did serve a purpose in the plot. She served a very important purpose in the plot. But
what was it?
The entire first act. She was featured in the entire first act. His establishment of ordinary world. And the inciting incident and moving into the second act. She was brought back in the third act, but yeah, she had nothing to do at all while he was away.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was
just there.
She was
there in the beginning to say,
but I don't think she was
kind of a dick.
Oh, it was a little bit more nuanced than that. I actually really liked that movie. I do think that
I don't dislike the movie
because I love her.
Yeah.
But I don't think that it's as just other end of the spectrum, like they fucking wasted her and she's like, I don't think that, but I do think that I was hoping that she would be more in the sequel or have a bigger role in the sequel.
Agreed.
Which I don't think she's even in. So.
Oh, is she not in it?
I don't know.
Yeah, there's no reason for her to be unless they're going to make her some sort of, I don't know, sorcerer.
Could be some alternate reality version of her.
Well, that's just it too. Like how would the conversation be if they awkwardly inserted her into like the magic part of his life?
Right, like Man of Steel.
Yeah. Like,
right, like there was no reason for Lois Lane to be in 90% of the scene, any of the action scenes that were happening in Man of Steel. But for some reason, she's on the ship, and for some reason, she's on the plane. You know, it's like, that would be even more frustrating, I think.
Just kept inserting her into so she's either a damsel or always just like, let's find something for her to do. It's cool if she just stays a doctor over here that he like has dates with, and then helps him with other things, and we're good. Like, I don't know. It's. I like Rachel McAdams. I think that's the end of it.
I love her. That's why I'm bummed that she didn't have anything to do. So from a scale of 1 to 10, how would you guys rate Shang-Chi? Oh, we'll get to that, my friend. Action Figure Expert is asking down in the chat. We're going to be talking about that at the end of the show. We're only going to talk about 4 books. We're going to breeze right through them, hopefully, and then we'll talk about Shang-Chi because that's what I'm most excited to talk about.
Now, I'm probably going to drop out, as you guys know, but is news to the viewers. But I just wanted to say, Action Figure Expert makes mention of the 10 wristbands. I haven't seen the movie yet, and that's why I'm going to drop out. I think that's a cool, just from the trailers, I was like, oh, that's a cool use of the word ring, and but a little different, and it looks really
Loved
cool.
it. I
Cool.
love the wristbands as like changing the rings. All right, thank you so much. Everyone keep commenting below so we can chitty chat with you about what we're going to be discussing, which we'll start with the comics block. Dark Ages #1 from Marvel Comics, written by Tom Taylor, who you may know from Deceased over at DC Comics. You might know him from Injustice over in DC Comics. What has he done for
All New Wolverine?
Nightwing. He's writing Nightwing. All New Wolverine.
Oh, he's doing Nightwing? Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's done
Nightwing is great.
Nice.
His new book looks dope, and we're going to talk about it when it finally comes out in like October.
The DC fantasy thing?
Dark Knights of Steel.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what? I don't even. Well, we'll talk about it. This is what the Watcher has been watching for. A danger older than the Earth threatens everything. For once, the heroes who have saved the planet so many times are almost powerless in the face of it. X-Men and Avengers assemble. Spider-People and Fantastic Four come together. Heroes for hire fight alongside champions. None of it will be enough. The lights are about to go out. The world outside our window is about to end. And I was really excited about this when I heard about it 2 years ago. I believe 2 free comic book days ago, there was an issue that came out which had an entire scene that was not in the first issue that we just read this week involving Iron Man. And I was like, oh, snap. And I thought it was going to be in continuity. So I was like, oh. And then when it's not in continuity. Spoiler alert. But I was very excited to read it because I love Tom Taylor and I like what he does. And I was not disappointed. I think this was great. It was different than I thought it was going to be because I was kind of like, is he just going to do Deceased but for Marvel? That's not what this is. It felt very different. It felt like an entirely different beast. And the end, I will say, left me a little like, oh, all right. The cliffhanger didn't hang me off any cliffs, but I will definitely read it because I like Tom Taylor. What did you guys think? No.
I thought this was a butt ton of exposition.
Yes.
But it was really enjoyable. I didn't. So that it was an unannounced free comic book day tease. It was like 8 pages in the back of like the Venom book that was free, and no one knew it was coming. So like it was this little short story, and all of a sudden you're like, Tom Taylor, and Iron Man's getting his leg ripped off by a plane because all the power goes out. So like I think because of the pandemic, this book was delayed over a year.
Yeah.
But it was not what I was expecting, in a good way. So like I thought it was just going to be some sort of something happened, all the lights out, and now they have to live in the Dark Ages, which is kind of what happens. But that it goes into celestial level craziness with hidden gods in the center of the earth and black holes perpetually open in the middle of another dimension type of shit. I was like, oh, okay. Like the theme of the book just was a whole different level than I expected it to be, which was a wonderful surprise. That Earth is, a gabillion years ago was actually created as a prison. I thought it was fucking hilarious.
How many things are in the center of the Earth in the Marvel Universe at this point?
Right?
7.
At least
The
2.
answer is 7. It's 7. We don't know the other 5 yet. No, but and much like all of these, so like this is his sweet spot, having the full control of an entire universe with absolutely no continuity to either beholden to or keep in place. So when Tom Taylor has like Injustice or Deceased, it's like, who do I want to murder? which beloved character will I shock people with killing off? Which happens. But even though I'm expecting it, he always does it so effectively, right? Like I know that major characters are going to die, but it's like watching a wonderful horror movie. Like that there's going to be some collateral damage, and it's almost better when you care more about the person.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So it's like I don't want them to die, but it's going to be great when they do because this is going to be so cool. I loved this. This was wonderful.
Brian.
I also enjoyed it. I Now, we've said it's out of continuity. It's not just that the things that happen aren't affecting continuity. It's a different kind of setup. Like Peter and Mary Jane have a young daughter. There's a few things that are different, which I thought was interesting. Yeah, I thought it was cool. The one thing I noticed was, so they say that Moon Girl is the smartest person on the Earth.
Yes.
And she's going to see the second smartest person, who presumably is Reed Richards. But then Valeria walks in, who is supposed to be smarter than Reed Richards. So where does she fit in? But yeah, it's all right.
Well, if you see, she went to Valeria.
Yeah.
Oh, did she go to Valeria? Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I was wondering that too, right? Because
she did.
We're introduced to Reed, and Ben goes up to get Reed, and he's getting Reed only because there is a dinosaur parked in our lobby. And
That's true.
so he's the dinosaur is down there, and I'm like, well, where did Moon Girl go? What the heck? And that's when she walks in with Valeria.
Yeah.
And like, oh, she wasn't going for Reed, she was going for Valeria.
So it's all sorted out. Excellent.
Yeah.
My other little thing was so Doctor Strange has to open a portal to like an EMP pulse world, and that's what knocks out the electricity. And then time passes. And I'm thinking, there is nothing that can be done to close this portal and then just have electricity again?
There's no other sorcerers?
Right, exactly.
If they close it, well, I mean, two things.
Mm-hmm.
How would they get in contact with whatever world sorcerers are around? Right?
Magic, hopefully.
Okay. Let's call them up.
But yeah, all right.
Two, undoing or redoing what Strange did, doesn't it awaken this thing? So maybe it's just not a solution yet. In the center of the Earth.
Thing would. Oh yeah, it would start
Yeah,
working again. Well, there we go. 2 out of 2.
Nice.
Okay, excellent.
So it's not as simple as like, I mean, anybody could do it. I think it's more like 2 or 3 pronged. Like,
that's a good point.
Oh, they only activated the first phase of their plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To depower
you gotta push
it,
that thing through first.
Yeah.
They'll figure it out, hopefully. But and then there was a moment that happened. So, as you mentioned, Noel, it's there's some dark stuff that happens in here. And we were getting to a point, I don't know if we want to spoil it, but around there where something real bad looked like it happened.
Yes.
And I was like, oh man,
geez.
that's not, I don't know if I'm into that. And then that thing did not happen. And I was like, hey, all right.
Yeah.
We don't like when children are murdered.
We do not.
Not a big fan.
I like it less now, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean,
and you didn't really like it a lot before.
Right.
Yeah. I was all right with it before, but now I just don't like it.
Looking at this death of Ben Grimm, I noted that it was strange to me. The most heartbreaking part of his death is the fact that when his bits hit Susan's invisible shield, the sound effect they make is tink, tink, tink.
Yeah.
Like, for some reason, the tink, tink, tink sound effect really resonated with me. Like, damn, he got so blasted that he's just pebbles. He's not even like ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk.
Ting, 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 ting.
Yeah. That's a good point.
There was, can you flow a couple more? Like,
forward?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
When they're back on the streets. I'm not, this was cool. If you go back, the idea that now Ant-Man is stuck being giant.
Oh yeah.
Pacemakers are out. Viv just straight up dead ski.
Yeah.
So like,
or at least
it's
synthezoids,
inactive.
or
I mean, it's dead for.
What could come back?
Synthezoid.
Yeah.
We don't have any power, so let's just assume she's dead.
All right.
But in general, like a lot of these like side things that I wouldn't have expected, like wherever they're stuck at. How is Iron Man going to survive falling from the sky in a like 2-ton suit?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
Just fun stuff. It's just all fun stuff.
Maybe there's some non-electrical, like kind of cushion backup thing that will happen. But JD, I agree with you about the final page. I was kind of like, oh, I don't know. Why are those guys there? Maybe he's mind controlling them. Although I think, and I only think this because of some stuff that was in the back for like the next issue, I think that's Miles Morales, Spider-Man, up there.
No, it's Norman.
Oh, is it?
Is that Red Goblin?
The picture of the next issue, he's got the wavy hair and it's a white guy.
I thought he was a black guy.
Isn't that a white guy with wavy
Picture
hair?
of next issue doesn't. Oh, that's a black guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Miles.
Is it? I thought it had like the ruffled hair.
It is kind of like I could see that. Like it's got a little like line kind of in it.
Yeah, it's
I think
definitely Miles.
Okay.
Yeah, I promise. Boop, 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 boop. Bop, bop. Who's that kid? Oh, I see. It's May. The little
Yeah.
Spider.
Who I guess is because it's a significant time jump, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. I guess it's Miles. My bad.
But yeah, that last page, I was kind of like, oh, I mean, all right, I guess.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's just going to be a good old fashioned coalition of evil and good in order to be the right
We got like
guys for the job. Yeah, like an Ocean's
a
11
lot of
type
heroes in there.
thing.
Yeah.
I don't really care the hows and what fors. He just always tells a fun story. So
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. It's not the cliffhanger that brings me back. It's Tom Taylor. All right. Let's see. What's up? I'll tell you. It's Batman: Fear State Alpha #1 by DC Comics from James Tynion IV and Riccardo Federici. The event over a year in the making begins. Fear State settles upon Gotham City, and no one is safe. Overwhelmed by the dual threat of the Scarecrow and Peacekeeper 1, Batman and his allies have been one step behind since the events of Infinite Frontier #0. And with the arrival of a mysterious anti-Oracle and the return of Poison Ivy, Batman might have more than he can handle! ! Question mark.
I think you have to yell that question. Right?
Oh, hold on. Let's see. With the arrival of mysterious anti-Oracle and the return of Poison Ivy, Batman might have more than he can handle!
It was good.
Yeah.
Like
I
that.
think that's called an interrobang. The that punctuation mark. The two.
Oh, what's it called?
Interrogation
interrobang.
bang.
Oh, Interrobang.
Yeah. I think it was a pretty good name. Yeah.
So yeah, the Batman Fear State. I've been enjoying James Tynion's the Fourth's work on this book, but I haven't read it for since a little bit after Joker War.
So
I
like
guess.
12
Ghostmaker
issues.
stuff, right?
Like 12 issues. But wait, when
I'm
the
enjoying
Ghost
the run, but I haven't read a third of it.
was Ghostmaker before or after Joker?
After.
Right before.
It was
I thought it
before
was after
Joker War?
Yeah, he was a part of it, wasn't it?
What now?
I don't think so.
Oh, you're right. Wait, it was issue 100 or something like that. Yeah,
So-
it was immediately after Joker War. Yeah.
Since after Ghostmaker. Anyway, not for any reason other than I haven't been able to get to it. I really would like to. I'm enjoying this run quite a bit. And see, I don't even know who Miracle Molly is. Like, I knew she was introduced, but when she showed up in here, I was like, I don't know who, where, why you do what, who. So it was interesting to jump back into this after missing a whole bunch of stuff. But I feel like it caught me up pretty well. I didn't really feel confused by the end of the issue. I think it presented itself appropriately. And I can't say I was bowled over by it. I like the idea, the impetus for the Fear State, which is all of the events of the past couple of years have been building towards this, like Joker taking over everything, Bane taking over everything, not being able to trust the police department. And now we've got this where we're trying to push the citizens of Gotham into a fear state, which means they're just more malleable, right?
The Scarecrow's theory, I think, was that, which I thought was a really cool part of the book, was that like he had written some papers early in his career that if a society was pushed to the brink, they would be able to be like their momentum could be shifted into a different direction.
It's just an extension of what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. His whole theory too is that Batman had experienced a fear state. Bruce Wayne experienced a fear state at a young age, and he fortified himself and changed himself into something much stronger because of it. It's just like a community-sized theory of something like that.
Yeah, but I think malleable was the
malleable word
was important to it too. Yeah.
What'd you think?
Brian, you go first.
I enjoyed it. I thought the art was cool. Right, it's not the most kinetic art in the world, but I liked it. You know, it's nice looking. Like I said, I thought that was a cool it's nothing like revolutionary, but it's a cool theory to base a miniseries on, and it works for Scarecrow being the one that did it. And the thing that happens with the Oracle, I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
I mean, I think it was JD. Was it you that was just like, yeah, they introduced it, and then 2 panels later they did it.
I was reading it and I was like, Oracle says something like, "Oh, I'll get my word out to the people, and the people will believe me because it's me. They trust me." And I was like, "Oh, we're definitely going to be seeing that later in the story." Oh, the next page, here it is. Okay, he just jumped right into it.
That's the equivalent of like, I always look both ways. I'm never going to get hit by a car.
Bam!
Like, yeah.
Yeah, you don't say shit like that. And the stuff with the poison ivy I thought was cool. There's a lot of things that are set up here that I could see being played out. There's a lot of seeds of storylines that are here that I'm interested in.
That poison ivy bit is actually from the Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy miniseries that we just did at my store's book club maybe 6 months ago. At the end of that, you find out that Ivy has been split ever since Heroes in Crisis. So there is like a nice Ivy and a more evil Ivy.
That's the Queen Ivy.
Queen Ivy, yeah.
Here, which I thought that was cool too. That I'm inferring that Queen Ivy is a kind of ivy that doesn't need sunlight, because they say that in the book.
Oh,
and
then, yes.
It's not an inference, then, is it?
Well, I guess I'm inferring that he looked it up and it's true. It's what, that he didn't just like make up Queen Ivy.
Even if he made it up in the reality of the book, that's it. Like, unless they're quoting actual science. I mean, we're talking about magic, mystical, mutant creatures. So
I like the science to be right when applicable, though, right? Like if he's going to say there's a kind of ivy out there that's called Queen Ivy and it only survives in the not sunlight.
In the world of the book, there could be, and it doesn't matter. It's when they try and make real stuff different than what it actually is. If it's just pure fiction, then yeah, sure. Stick with the rules of what you're establishing, right?
Yeah, like we already knew what Batmanium does in the real world, and then Scott Snyder just came in and was like making up all weird stuff for it.
That was my biggest problem with that book.
You joke, but they created rules, and they stuck to those rules for how they were going to use this fake metal in continuity of the story. So like that is technically okay. But if it was iron does this thing, and it's actually a magical conduit, and we'll show you how. Like then that's like, all right, come on, we all know what iron is. That's fine.
I do like the especially in the Silver Age, the flash facts, that kind of thing, where the science is like 7 miles per second is escape velocity. I think is true, and I learned from a Wally West comic where he said flashbacks and then the facts.
I have a lot of mixed emotions about this book. Like as just a comic, I enjoyed it, but I'm not super enjoying. I'm very Batmaned out, just hardcore Batmaned out. The things that I thought was impressive about this book are the same things that I'm tired of in Batman books. So like I think it's noble that they mention the fact that the city has was taken over by Bane and then was taken over by Joker and everybody's on the edge. And that's great that they incorporated that into their story in order to execute this one. But it just glaringly showed how redundant or repetitive it all is. Like every 12 issues, the entire city is taken over. And it's just, it's starting to feel like, it's always been a cycle. I guess I'm just now feeling it.
Don't forget when Riddler did it in Scott Snyder's.
In Year Zero, and then the Owls took over. They had a whole night, and then of course,
and they had
during
a whole night.
It was
well, the next person had to take over. So
it literally, look, I'm currently reading New 52 Batman.
Yeah,
the Joker takes over for a whole night. Death of the Family was a whole, like, across all lines, took over all of Gotham and all the communications. The Owls took over all of everything for one night. When Metal kicks in, all of the Batmen take over, all of Gotham and the city. Like, it's literally just constantly happens, and I'm bored with it. But this was still impressive. But I'm like, all right. I dropped off of the Batman title maybe at like 106, that first arc after Joker War, and I was just like, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm fine.
You know, we haven't gotten much
and it
of.
doesn't feel like it's progressed at all. But also, there's 15 new characters.
Yeah.
So like every issue is a speculation nightmare, and there's 15,000 new characters, and it's just like it's either everything or the same thing. And I just kind of wish it was more balanced and just, I don't know. I'm having trouble with Batman titles right now.
It's because there's so many of them.
I enjoy the Black Label ones. They're just much more focused and streamlined and just telling a story instead of like constantly.
Well, they're also smaller stories, right? And that's a place that Batman really shines, is like a detective thing or whatever. It doesn't have to be like these grander and grander things for him to solve or deal with. And now I haven't been reading Batman, so there could be those, but it doesn't feel like there are from what you were saying and everything.
There aren't though. Like since I stopped reading at like 108 or 107 or something, it's just been introducing new characters to get up to this point, and then just reflect some of the future state stuff. It's been all building dominoes with no actual Batman stories or detective stories. Now he's just got a new team. And
like matches Malone in a story.
Moderately less money, I guess. Like they make a big point of how much of a billionaire he's not anymore, but he's still pretty well equipped for things. Like I don't know. It's either do it or don't. Not like this whole weird middle. Like I still have state of the art vehicles. I can't get it up to a certain speed because I have to have a heavier engine. Like,
and my house is smaller.
Hot rod. Yeah. It's very weird. I'm just complex. The art is fantastic. The way that this is set up as an alpha issue is really, really cool. It's intriguing. I'd like to know what happens, but I think this is going to be one of those things that I just read 2 or 3 years from now in one chunk, as opposed to.
There's so many tie-ins coming.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of tie-in issues.
Yeah. There are several series that
get off my lawn.
We just haven't done it. Like I think King in Black. Some of the Marvel stuff was like, I'm not doing the tie-ins.
I like till the day I die. I will from now on. It's just if you want to read the event, just read the event.
Yeah.
If you are currently reading the main title that the event is related to, I'll keep reading that. But when it comes to special minis and extra one-shots and this and that, and it's tangential, doesn't really matter, but kind of matters in a weird side way, no, you're good.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to see in one of the issues how Scarecrow replaces the lenses on his broken mask in this last panel.
Yeah. I mean, there's some people that love that's why in issue 114 his glasses weren't broken anymore. Yeah. Like, I don't care.
What would be nice, but completely impractical for their purpose of selling more comics, is if they would just put it on the front. Like, this is not this is a side story. And then if you like that kind of thing, pick it up if you were into the glasses repair of it all.
In 3 years, so Tinian is leaving after this arc, or Tynan is leaving after this arc. Friendly Neighborhood writer.
Is it Tynan? You guys have we seem to have changed our pronunciation.
We were corrected.
Is that right? Oh, okay.
So I'm just trying to make it stick. Tynan.
Yeah, somebody interviewed him, as he said it, or she saw.
Friends of ours saw him at a convention, and he introduced himself.
He said his own name is Tynan.
Yeah.
Seems like the authority.
I feel like his previous run was collected in an omnibus. I have a feeling in a couple years, we'll get From Joker War on in a nice chunk. I'll experience it then, and I'll probably, without all of the bells and whistles and multiple tie-ins, maybe I'll actually just enjoy it in one clip. But as for a monthly book, I was better off dropping it, and I don't regret it. Yeah.
Dan H seems like DC. No, Dan H commented, it seems like DC is doing more. I'll tell you what, I had a hit of my weed pen. It seems like DC is doing more mini/maxi series, which I tend to like more than ongoing books.
Yeah, I like their new thing. Like Superwoman is a maxi, or Supergirl is a maxi series, and I think it's great, especially the stuff that you guys have talked about. Like, I think last week said you like endings, and this lends itself to here's a story, and then we'll do another one later.
was it JD? Was it you or somebody else that called me out in the shop? Somebody was looking at a book, and I was just like, "Oh, you should jump into that eventually or soon because it's ending." And it was just like, why would I jump in when it's ending? I was just like, well, I think it's incredibly exciting when I know that something is finite. Like, oh, now I know that I will not be in a perpetual cycle of constantly picking up each volume for in perpetuity.
Like it's a story that you're getting into.
It's a full story that has something. I will now commit to it because it's going to end, as opposed to totally jump in on volume 4 or like volume 8, chapter 15 of the 45-year saga of Batman. Like it's a little harder,
And we get a variety too, I think, that we might not otherwise. Right? Like a story like Mr. Miracle or whatever, that maybe they would never do an ongoing of, but we get a Mr. Miracle story.
Agree.
Telepaths #1 from AWA Comics, written by J. Michael Straczynski with art by Mike Epting. An electromagnetic disturbance results in the sudden awakening of telepathic powers in 1/10 of the Earth's population. In the moments after the world comes to grip with this development, newly telepathic Boston police find themselves sent against a wrongly convicted prisoner who becomes a hero and leader of other telepaths trying to escape a world in which their powers will make them targets. Both are heroes of their own story, and the future may depend on whether or not trust can be found betwixt them.
It says betwixt?
No. It says between. I didn't read it. What did you think, Brian?
I thought it was all right. Yeah. And
Sold.
I didn't. Yeah. You should buy this if you like things that are all right. It wasn't bad. There was some interesting stuff. There were a lot of different stories begun about all of the different people, one in each scenario, one in each group, at least, who will have telepathy.
He's coming back with candy. I guarantee
fantastic. It. What do you think? Kit Kat?
I think it's, I know he's going to come back with cookies or candy.
Cool.
I guarantee it.
Let's see. Oh, he's laughing. Sour Patch Kids.
I guarantee it. He took a hit. He's drinking.
Sour Patch Kids.
Snacks time, baby.
All right.
JD never goes salty. He always goes sweet.
Yeah. I like that about JD.
Oh, they're all watermelon.
Yeah. Oh, I thought I saw some watermelons on there. Yeah, that's good.
Those are literally the best.
Yeah. So anyway, but there was a lot of it. There was a lot of this before the interesting thing happens in the story. Some of which, was like, I don't care about that. The president of the United States is one of the people, and I don't think he got telepathy, but I would be more interested if he did. I think that would be an interesting story.
Well, I think it was his Secretary of State or something.
Yeah, somebody like that.
Introduced the whole time I'm reading this, all I can think of is holy television movie exposition.
Batman. Yeah,
it's just a shit ton of exposition, and it was all very pilot episode-ish, or
TV 2 or 3 minutes of each. Now that you put it that way, 2 or 3 minutes of a show of each of these things, that would probably be okay.
This is the first half of the first act of an event series on television, and it has the same qualities too. It looks very rote. I like Mike Epting, but his art, or Steve Epting, sorry, his art is very, gritty, procedural. It's just functional, right? It's
look at this
all
boring
ass espionage.
Cover.
Yeah, that is a very
cover sucks.
Seen before cover.
His claim to fame is Brubaker's Captain America, and the reason why it worked there is because you took something fantastical like Captain America and you brought him down to a ground level of espionage and just in the mud kind of urban warfare. But without the fantastical elements, he just draws an episode of Criminal Intent.
It's just regular looking people in regular everyday clothes.
It's not even film quality. It just looks kind of like a television drama.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? This is hey, check out this comic book about some boring people, some of whom have guns.
This is the new ABC television show. It's not that. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not that great. Also, too, J. Michael Straczynski, You've told a different version of this short story like 18 fucking times.
Yeah.
Rising Suns, Resistance,
Stars.
or Uprising. Oh, sorry, Rising
Oh, was it-
Stars. No, it's Star. You're right, Rising
One
Stars.
of them. Some are
Um,
stars.
The other AW book, Resistance and Moths, those have the same kind of premise where like something happens and people are born with powers.
Yeah.
Something happens and people get powers. Something happens and a lot of like it's the same goddamn thing, bro. And you're not telling anything different with each one.
Yeah.
They're
They're all very
different
broad.
characters.
They're all very broad characters. Oh, I thought you meant each character. But there's
no, I mean
Yeah.
I'm talking about his other stories that are
Right,
this
right.
exact same stories. Like the conceit and or thesis that he has not been changing. It's just another set of events. Whether it's a solar flare or a meteor, it's event changes people be stupid. That's it. And I don't know, this was disappointing.
Now I'll tell you,
Person.
the End League has a similar thing going on, and that is a good series. Second,
It's
Rick
Rick Remender.
Remender series, whom I don't really care for, actually,
I was
other
gonna
than
say-
these two.
So I have Indie League. I haven't read it yet,
Mhm.
but almost everyone I know that likes Rick Remender's work talk about how that is like the worst thing. That's
Really?
the worst
Oh,
thing he's
okay.
done. It's not awesome. And then you're the only person that's just like loved it.
Yeah,
Don't like Rick Remender. It's
Yeah.
still great. I'm like,
he hit a different thing. The first issue is
Okay.
the best, in my opinion, and he
and then
it goes a
it
different
down
way.
for
but-
9. Yeah.
Not down. It's just down and then solid, you know. He sets up something real interesting in the first issue that doesn't and can't get followed up on that I was like, oh man, that was the coolest part.
Let's do a book club for the End League.
Sounds good. Oh,
You
we
should
did a
talk
book
about
club
Dolphin.
for another thing of his that I liked. What was it?
Oh, it was
The
Seven to
Fantasy
Eternity.
World. Yes, that was also very cool.
So we're talking about other books because this one is pretty rote and kind
Yeah.
of boring. Maybe 2 or 3 issues
Disinteresting
from
characters.
now,
Yeah.
maybe 2 or 3 issues from now, it'll like have a turn. It'll be really fascinating. But as of right now, it's literally just been exposition and introduction, and it's kind of boring. Next book.
I've
All right.
eaten an entire bag of Sour Patch Kids.
What
That was
did
quick.
you breathe?
The breathed Sour Patch Watermelon Kids.
Almost
I think-
American
Breathe
number
them
1
in.
from Aftershock Comics, written by Ron Mars with art by Marco Castiello. Spies like us.
What?
In 2008, In 2008, husband and wife Russian intelligence operatives walked into the U.S. Embassy in the Dominican Republic in order to defect, making a deal to trade secrets for new lives. But instead of the American dream, Janosch and Victoria Newman found themselves caught up in red tape, bureaucracy, and turf wars between the FBI and CIA, all while their past tries to kill them. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. Wah, wah. This is, I believe, based on the true story, on the real happening in life.
Oh, really?
And, yeah, and it reads just like a true story that happened in real life. And then we get to the end, and I was like, all right.
You ever heard Kurt Vonnegut's thing? Some things only happen in real life and bad fiction.
Yes.
I like
Yeah.
that quote.
Yeah, this was not particularly interesting. I was not invested in these two people at all. So at the very end, when they get to America, I was like, all right, cool. Go ahead, Noel. I'm sorry. You said
Oh no! I thought it was all right. So like I read I read both Almost American and Telepaths. Telepaths was like by the numbers and wrote. This was just very. It had a pitter patter of a spy movie that was effective. And if you don't care for that, especially like the first act of a spy movie where it is a lot of talking and people trying to outthink other people, it's difficult in comics. So I liked it, but I totally agree with you that it's like, all right, so okay.
Well, wait a minute.
This would have
So
been
you
better
said-
as like an OGN. It's
I agree.
issues wise, like so it hits the marks it needs to hit. It does it incredibly well, but because it is in issues, they essentially only give you half of the first act.
yes.
So it's interesting, but it's not enough to like, you know, how did you put it before? It's not enough of a cliff to hang off of.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, cool, it's a nice teaser, cool. Like it reads like a 0 issue because there's not enough space to actually get through the first act. So I liked it, but I would not read this in chapters.
Nah.
Yeah, I
It
like
might
this
be great
page
as
that
like
you've
a-
got up here, JD.
Oh, it's
I like
just
that
great,
color
isn't it?
layout. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I really like the art a lot too. I've never heard of this artist, but he's got a lot of Lenil Yu vibes
Yes, he
going on,
does.
especially with
Yes,
his
he does.
caricatures and his acting. I liked this a lot, but I'd be hard pressed to recommend it in issue format.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but it was totally solid. It was much better than Telepaths.
I guess we'll talk about Shang-Chi.
Hey, JD, before I go, I think both of us read the beginning of Midnighter. I really liked it. I forgot that I didn't finish it. I really liked the art, and it was a cool story, time travel stuff. What were you thinking? A few words.
I read half of it and gave up.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. So
I
different
read about
reactions.
I read about 13 issues and like stopped. 13
Okay.
pages and stopped. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah,
Well, 2 out of 3. Or
Sorry, buddy.
didn't like it. That's all right. Very good. All right.
I actually
well,
didn't. I suck because I actually didn't notice that it was a Michael Evan Oming, which I usually really like.
Oh, yeah.
But I was
He did
just,
one of the mouse guard or something, right?
all I know him from is
Powers.
United States of Murder Inc.
Okay.
Series. Like most of his stuff is usually pretty like heavy line, dark, and square jaw, which I'm very used to. And then seeing this, it was just so bright and kind of a thinner line, and I was like, I
like those things. I was
I
like,
didn't
ooh, I
like
like
this.
this thin line.
I didn't like it. I thought the action was pretty bleh.
Yeah.
And then I mentioned that in the shop, and JD was like, "You don't like Oming?" I'm like, "Yeah, I love Oming." He was like, "That's who did the art." I'm like, "Oh shit, yeah, I can see that now." But I didn't like this. I didn't like this at all.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, same.
Before I go, JD, it's been so long, about a week, since you told me about ways that people could contribute to the show. Is there anything that you would like to say about that, please?
Like I said last week, Brian, if you would just pay attention to me, you could go to patreon.com/JohnnyDestructo. Help us out there. I'm thinking of adding a sticker tier because I want to do like a sticker a month maybe, or every 2 months. And like everyone in that tier I'll just send you stickers that I draw myself. I got a bunch of ideas that I want to draw, and maybe, I don't know, maybe you would like some fucking stickers. I don't know. Go to patreon.com/JohnnyDestructo, and maybe you could do that. If not, you can just throw money at us anyway. If you don't have any money, because most of us don't, we're all poor as hell. That's why we're here on a Monday night talking about comics instead of out buying yachts like normal people do on Monday nights.
Yeah,
You can just
money moves. Is that that's a thing?
That's what they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just pick their money up and put it in a different place.
Yeah, they Scrooge McDuck it. They just like move it into the vault where I swim in it.
They move
And then I
through
move
the money.
Yeah, those are money moves.
Money displacing.
Yeah.
We're all
Same
we
page.
know how money
Same
works.
page.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have any of it, you can just hang out with us and just talk to us. We're so lonely. And you can like and comment and subscribe. Brian, if you could do me the kind favor of getting the out of here.
Okay.
That's it.
I kindly you leave. Enjoy.
Kindly
the
F
Shang-Chi.
off.
Effing off.
Oh, I love that. That was great. That's gonna be our new sign off for the show. Instead of we'll talk at you later. Effing off.
Effing off.
All right. I'm going to close this down so I got more wiggle room. Here we go. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings came out this week. And let's see. I know some information about it. It's directed by Destin Daniel Cretton. And it's based on Marvel Comics. Starring, how do you say this? I don't want to say Simu. It's not Simu, is it?
Oh yeah, it's Simu Liu.
Simu Liu. Aquafina. Menger Zhang. A bunch of names I'm gonna just mess
Tony
up.
Leung.
Tony Leung, Benedict Wong, Michelle Yao, Ben Kingsley. Such a good.
Oh
such
yeah,
a good
we're gonna
cast.
spoil the shit out of this. By the way,
We're gonna spoil the fuck the yes.
the F out of it. We're gonna spoil the butt out of it. We're gonna take the butt and we're gonna spoil it. And we're just gonna put it there.
Now, all right. Spoil this for me, Noel. Who is Destin Daniel Cretton?
Destin Daniel Cretton. This is his first larger movie. He had done Just Mercy with yeah, we literally
Brie
watched
Larson.
it for Movie Club with Brie Larson and Michael B. Jordan.
Oh, I did. We did watch that. That was good.
And Short Term 12. He's pretty much up until now known for a lot of small dramas or independent movies. And
well, I gotta say,
positioned for this.
Yeah, I got.
No. I mean, they explicitly sought Asian filmmakers to execute this. Yeah. Writers, filmmakers, crew. Like this was a almost exclusively Asian and Pan-Asian
cast
production.
Crew production.
Yeah.
For not knowing or what I do know of the director's work, this was scores better than I would have assumed it would be, seeing his body of work.
Well, I mean, I don't think his body of work even, it's not comparable to the level of like visual storytelling as this. Yeah.
It's just so neat, when they're making these decisions, when they see these young filmmakers doing their thing and doing very different types of films, and how they're able to transfer that experience that they have into this big budget, multi-million-dollar extravaganza and making that jump. It's so neat.
I used to think that, but if you look at like a lot of like the little indie movies that a lot of these filmmakers, because there's been a couple of them now, right? Like, I think the people that did Captain Marvel, the people that did this, the Black Widow, like there are people that are just really good at telling stories. So what Marvel does is like, do you have a good story to tell with this character? Cool. I love it. I'm going to surround you with the best second unit directors, fight choreographers, special effects people in the entire effing world. Anything you don't know, they'll fill in the gaps and we're good. Just tell a story. So like, I think Marvel has set up, or at least Disney Marvel has set up this apparatus where a small filmmaker will not be completely inundated with uncertainty with a large production, because they surround them with literally the best of the best in what can be done, right? Mm-hmm. So like a lot of the action is shot second unit, a lot of the special effects are done first, and then they have time to render them. So like all that the director really has to do is make sure that all of the characters and all of the story beats make absolute sense and they capture it on the day, and everyone else works around it, right? So like I think that Marvel has created this vacuum where it can exist, that a small person or like a small movie maker can make a big crazy ass movie without you always having to go to Spielberg. Mm-hmm.
True.
Which I think is fantastic.
Yeah. What did you think of this movie?
I loved it on multiple levels.
Yeah.
It was charming. It was funny. It was the action was so good. Like the fight choreography and the action was so good, and it was so good because it was so simple. Mm-hmm. They kept the camera in one location and only moved it minimal amount of times in order to see the action take place. Like where things were blocked and where you were as a viewer was never in question. It wasn't jerky. It wasn't all over the place. It wasn't shaky. It was literally watching excellent physical people do excellently physical feats of strength.
Yep.
And it was just so great because you don't get to see that anymore. Everybody's got like a digital double or a green screeny kind of thing. And this was actually like athletes doing athletic, really impressive shit. And it was great. Seeing Simu Liu's face was fucking awesome. Right. Like just 5 years ago, we were watching the Iron Fist show and it's like, ooh, dude.
Yeah.
Like everyone, you can tell everyone is being slower for you.
Yeah.
Like you don't get that here. It's everyone is just at their A game and is doing the absolute best. And then I also appreciate, spoilers, the last third of this movie fucking goes for it.
Yeah,
like it just straight goes for it. It's like it's up until they get captured and are in, the Ten Rings compound. It's a pretty simple story about, about heritage, about family, about, responsibility, who you are as a person based off of how you were raised and who you choose to be. Very basic superhero stuff.
Yeah.
But then somewhere towards the end of the second act, when you're in the compound and you come across a character from another Marvel movie, too, up until that point, hardly a Marvel movie until then. Right?
That's exactly what I told Sushan.
Yeah.
I was like, it didn't even feel like a Marvel movie for 90% of it.
It's perfectly little sprinkled in references, but it is not contingent, and it does not feel like just another cog in the wheel.
Yeah.
But they bring in a character from a previous movie, and you're like, all right. And then they go full on fantasy film, to the hilt. It becomes a Lord of the Rings version of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. And you know what? It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Every second of it is fucking awesome.
Yep.
I was just like, hey, this started with hand-to-hand combat, and now it's ending with Cthulhu creatures who are sucking out souls and fighting them with dragons flying through the sky. Okay. That's fine.
So cool.
And it was all great the whole time. The whole time. Also, wait, one more thing.
No, yeah.
In the midst of all of that CGI chaos, I still almost cried when Shang-Chi is fighting his father, and they're trying to emotionally attack each other while they're attacking each other.
Yep.
And I was like, fuck. It was in an island of actual acting and story in a sea of all of this crazy shit, and it was just so perfectly balanced. This is the best Marvel movie since Black Panther. Period.
Agreed. Well, wait, was Black Panther after Endgame?
Nah, I still did. Well, how about the best solo Marvel movie since Black
Absolutely.
Panther?
Yes. Yeah, I was thinking that too. I was like, I guess this is one of my favorite Marvel movies now, up there with Black Panther and Endgame. And the one thing I wanted to say is, speaking of Black Panther, and I think this is a large reason why, is because every other, for the most part, the Marvel films through and through have had an issue with their bad guys, and how the bad guy is just, here's your good guy, but in different colors. Right? And
we got a robot. He's gonna fight a robot.
He's a bigger robot. And of course, we do have two martial artists martial arting at each other while using rings. Very similar characters fighting each other, but there is an emotional heft and a balance to them that I think it really drives the whole film. The fact that I don't hate his name isn't the Mandarin. Wu? What's his name?
Wen Wu.
That was another thing. Okay, all right, one thing at a time. Sorry. So, the fact that Wen Wu is an engaging character that I feel bad for. I understand what he's doing. Maybe not how he got there, the 1,000 years of all that other. We're not going to talk about that. But within the context of this story, his character is really engaging, and you actually kind of wait, is he going to be a good guy by the end? Oh no. Okay, maybe. But yeah, he was awesome. The bad guy was awesome.
I agree. It's there was so much to. It's been a while since I've been to the movies. Actually, it's not really been that. I felt a little bit about this with Suicide Squad, where the Suicide Squad, not Suicide
yes, of course.
Where the more I thought about it, the more I sat with it, the more I appreciated it for different reasons. Mm-hmm. This was the same thing where I was just on a visceral entertainment level. I was just in it. It was wonderful. It was great. But then the more I thought about it, the more I wanted to listen to the music. And the more I thought about it, the more I wanted to see this or revisit this scene. The more I thought about it, the more I was like, I really loved the relationship between Awkwafina's character and Shang-Chi. The more it kept sticking with me, but the more I examined it in the back of my head, it didn't fall apart. It just got stronger. My appreciation for the movie just kind of kept getting stronger. So I saw it 3 days ago, you saw it like this afternoon.
Yeah.
You're gonna keep thinking of like scenes in this movie, how effective they are. Like every once in a blue moon, like an actor will make a moment perfect. One of my favorite examples. Do you remember the movie Minority Report with
Yes.
Tommy
Cruise.
Cruise, Thomas Cruise. Tomas. I don't know how well you remember it, but there's a scene at the very end when he's got like the little earpiece and he's all bald and he got escaped from the prison, and he's in an earpiece while Max von Sydow, who's revealed to be the villain, is trying to find him, and they're talking.
Yeah.
So he's playing mind games with him, and Sydow mentions his son, which is the whole reason why this all went down, that his son got kidnapped and killed. And the way that like the camera closes in on, or like, you know, Tom Cruise whips around and the camera closes in on his face, and it almost shakes when he yells, you know, "Don't ever talk about my son." Just like, it was just a really perfect moment that like hit the stakes. And even like the main bad guy was just like, oh shit, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
There was a couple moments like that here, especially in like the main fight at the end, where, you know, not only are the father and son trying to physically fight each other, they're also trying to really fuck with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And both of them get really, really good digs in. Yeah. And it was just so impressive how the actors pulled both of them off. Like, especially Tony Leung, he, in one scene, he goes from anger to sadness back to anger, and it's all just with his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's studying a map. He hears the voice of his wife. He starts to cry. Bad guys walk in, want him to do. He relays his plans to potentially murder his son. And you're like, there was no takes. Like, he just did all of that with his eyes. And it was the most impressive thing beyond, like, it was more impressive than the dragon that shows up at the end of the movie. Like, the core of this movie is just so solid. So everything that they attached to it was just icing.
Yep.
The fighting was icing. The action was icing. The weird, crazy magic shit was icing, because the core of it was just so fucking functional. And I loved it. 100%. Can't say nice enough things.
Yeah. You know, you had come in the other day and you were like, I saw it already. I'm not going to tell you my thoughts on it. I don't want to like.
I lasted like 4 hours.
I don't want to sway your opinion either way. And then 4 hours later, you're like, it was awesome.
Yeah, it was like an emotional Tourette's. I was just like, it was great. I can't. Sorry, I can't. I got to do it. It was great. It was great.
I see all of you out in the chat. Did you watch Shang-Chi yet? What do you think? Robert Monroe Jr. says, I went to see Shang-Chi with my daughter yesterday afternoon, and we couldn't believe that people still leave before the closing credits are over. It's a good point. I texted Noel after seeing the mid-credit sequence and be like, hey, is there a post-credit sequence? But at the minute that Noel texted me back, yes, it was started.
Yeah, there was 2 post-credit sequences. What did you think of the first one?
Oh, I'm curious. It sets up a mystery. I'm curious.
Yeah.
Yes.
Explain it. I mean, we're going.
Oh, well, we find out that once Shang-Chi grabbed the rings and was using them for, you know, his benefit, something within the rings started sending out a broadcast, beeping out a broadcast that we don't know who it's to.
Mm-hmm.
Who the hell could it be to?
So, like, for how many?
We don't know where the rings come from.
How many thousands of years? So, like, we don't know where they came from. We know that Wenwu has had them for at least 1,000 or 1,500 years. Ta Lo has been around for like 4,000 years. And the rings weren't being used before that. He started using them, but however he was using them, they didn't set off the signal, and it did the color change thing. But Shang-Chi using them sets off the signal. So I don't know if it's good or bad, but it is like kind of reaching out. The only thing I didn't like about it, and this is going to be real weird nitpick, is so Wong is talking with Shang-Chi and Katie, telling them the stuff and doing the little motion in the sky things. Yeah. And then they pan the room and Bruce Banner's there. Mm-hmm. And then Captain Marvel's there, Brie Larson. and they're talking in like phone conference holograms. Yeah. Banner is not hulked, but he's still got the sling, right? Yeah. But he just looked a little ragged, and I was like, all right, so that's your choice. But then I don't know why Brie Larson looked weird. Like it looked like a wig, and her makeup was weird. It was like a weird crisp continuity thing. Like this was an insert as opposed to usually it's a little bit more polished. The quality of like I loved everything that happened, but the quality of it just kind of like, all right, it looks like
I did not notice that at all. Yeah,
I don't know why.
Like keep an eye out.
To be fair, we saw it in IMAX. Everything is fucking huge.
Yeah,
and it was just like, oh, her hair looks fake.
Whereas I saw it in that 3D, real 3D, whatever.
Oh yeah,
Real D.
Was it cool?
No, I mean it's fine, but everything was much darker, and we were three rows before the screen, so you had to like look at the screen like this, which then messes up the 3D glasses.
Yeah, you have to like be in the center.
It's like taking a phone, a photo with your iPhone, and you put on the blur, and all you see is like this part of it. This part's 3D. Everything else is blurry.
The first time I saw a 3D movie in IMAX, because the screen is so huge. But if you only use your eyes to look left and right, because the 3D activation is essentially in the center of the lenses.
Yeah.
But because the screen is so huge, if you only move your eyes, it starts to get out of focus on whatever periphery you create. So you have to learn to watch a movie with your head.
Yep.
Like turning your head back and forth, because you have to kind of keep your focus in the middle of the 3D lenses. And it was just the worst. It's just the worst.
Dan H says, I think I'll wait for it to stream. What about what we're saying to you right now makes it sound like you should wait for it to stream? Unless it's a COVID.
It's good.
Because we were.
If you don't feel comfortable seeing it in theaters, that's great. Like, so I feel I behoove them to talk about my process. I actively go when it's not busy, as in like Friday mornings at 11 or 12. And I will stake out the seats. We have these wonderful things where we're allowed to see who's sitting near you and reserved seating. Yeah. So up until a half hour before, I'll actually see how many people are in the auditorium, what the size of the auditorium is, and where I can sit with being distanced around each other. And also too, here in Philadelphia, there are mask mandates indoors, regardless of vaccination status. So space, large ventilation systems, and masks, I'm fine. Yeah. Like we're good. But if you're just going on a random Saturday night, it's not awesome.
Yeah. No, doesn't want to be in a theater full of people, says Dan. 100%. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Us going is always contingent on how does it look 10 minutes before the showing with how many people are actually in there. And will we feel comfortable with that amount of people? And there weren't a lot of people. And it's Jersey, so there were mask mandates inside.
Yep.
Yeah. What else? What else was? Oh, nice appearance by the what's his name?
Trevor.
No, Trevor. That was fine. He did not need to be there. The Annihilate. No, the fuck. And what's his name? The Hulk's
Abomination.
Abomination.
Give it to you. Yeah.
You dick.
Oh, they redesigned him.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
They made him. Go ahead.
Oh, they didn't get Tim Roth to voice him clearly because he just goes.
He doesn't say anything. Yeah. They redesigned him. They made him look more comic accurate with the fins on the side of his head and stuff, but the body was the same. Yeah, it was pretty interesting, and I thought it was like really funny business.
Yeah.
As actors call it, what you do in the background or how you fill in scenes. Like it was really funny business to have Wong kind of be in league with his opponent.
Yeah.
So Wong and Blonsky were in a cage match.
Yeah.
It's just like you wouldn't expect that. Like, okay, that's kind of funny. Because last time we saw this guy, he was fighting the Hulk. So
he was pretty bad. Cute. Yeah.
I liked I liked what they did with Trevor Slattery, the Mandarin from Iron Man 3. So if you hadn't seen, when they were doing the Marvel one-shots, the little short films, they had one called Hail to the King. It's available on Disney Plus now. So it takes place after Iron Man 3, where you have the fake actor who was playing a terrorist on television, and they co-opted the Ten Rings organization. Killian Aldrich co-opted the Ten Rings organization for his own purposes. In that short film, they're interviewing Trevor, the actor who was portraying the Mandarin, for like a documentary, and then it's revealed that at the end, the documentarian, pulls a gun on all the guards and grabs Trevor, and he's like, "Where the hell are we going?" He's just like, "You took Master's name, and he wants to talk to you," and they just abscond with him, and they leave it at that. Yep. So it hints at the fact that this Ten Rings organization actually is real. There actually is a head of it, whoever they call themselves, and that's that. Yeah. So 10 years later now, or sorry, 5 or 6 years later, they make Ten Rings a important part of Shang-Chi. And his dad, who is the head of the Ten Rings, did actually capture Trevor. And he shows up in the middle of the movie, and he's actually a plot device to get them to the third act. Like, he's there a lot longer than I thought he would be. And it's really funny. Like, they brought him to the compound to murder, like to just be an execution. They thought he was humorous, and he puts plays on for all of the guards and warriors on like a weekly basis. Yeah. So he's essentially the court jester of this insane cult / terrorist organization, which I thought was really stupid. But then everyone is so charming, and they pull it off. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Yeah. I want Trevor to stay in Ta Lo and just kind of play with the kids for centuries. That's fine. Just stay over there with his chicken pig.
Speaking of Ta Lo, the place, the mythical place. Why did they leave it? We were wrapping up the movie, and I was going, is there any reason for them to go back to home, back to San Francisco or wherever? Is there any reason for them to go back other than like visiting family? Why would you go back to parking cars full time when you can live in the mystical Dragon Village?
They really liked their lives. Like they never downplay their lives at all. Like he loved parking cars and just being a normal person. And Katie had no aspirations really past having fun with her friends. So like I'm sure they've grown as people, but they're still the same people, and that that stinger at the end too of them all doing karaoke again, I thought was hilarious. Yeah.
That was cute.
And I am not a fan, I guess, of Awkwafina. She's fine. I've only seen her in like 4 things, and she's like the same character in each thing. So it's like, it's Awkwafina being Awkwafina. Cool. It's funny. She hosted Saturday Night Live, and she was Awkwafina, and she's funny. I see her as a comedian, not an actress. So how effective she was in this with Simu Liu was really refreshing and nice. Like she's still herself, but she nails all the emotional beats. Like their friendship is great, and I loved it. Yeah,
I believe it.
Yeah, exactly. But I see her as a comedian, not an actress. It's just a persona.
I don't really know her as a comedian. I've never seen. What is she? Stand up? Is that what her gig is?
She's like.
I assume she was a singer or something, or rapper.
No, she's like a. I don't know if she's ever done stand up, but she is a caricature type of performer. Like she's in a bunch of sitcoms.
I see.
Like she's got a specific shtick. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but she's always the best friend that's this loud.
Everyone was great. And I believed everyone in the film. It was a lot of fun. I think the action sequences were really good. It was a little... I'd like to go back and watch it again without the 3D because I was so close and everything was so big and it was kind of hard to follow some of it. I'd like to be able to sit a little bit further back and really enjoy... Because it really did feel like, they worked on the martial arts. They choreographed the fuck out of this movie, and it looks amazing. The way that they are doing it is so fast... I believe it. You know what I mean? There are times where something can be really beautifully and meticulously choreographed out, but the actors who are doing it, you can just kind of feel they're, you know what I mean? They're just kind of doing this.
Like
But
Steven
this, like,
Seagalling it, like
yeah, yes. We're just gonna clash our forearms together a bunch, and then I'll flip you.
there was
felt
fluidity and like I liked to like about the fighting. I liked that they essentially did a greatest hits of all uh types of movies, right? So you had like the Jackie Chan style sequence, which was essentially jumping on and off of scaffolding on a high rise into like, and they did the Crouching Tiger kind of wushu version in Ta Lo, and they did the there's like a Shaw Brothers version that they hit on every single trope of kung fu or martial arts films, and they blended it all together, which was really fun. They did the arena fight, they did the speeding. I'm not exactly sure if there's a direct point of reference for like the speeding train or like the speeding bus or the moving or on a train kind of thing, which I'm sure there is a frame of reference for it, but still it's not on top of my head. But they did so many different types of action set pieces that it was so fun. Like I will say that the movie technically dragged a little bit in the second act. It was just an overstuffed first half of the second up until like when they finally get to the Ten Rings compound, after the dinner scene, because the dinner scene was spectacular. It slowed down a bit to a crawl, and you got everyone's backstory memories back to back, and it was like, I'm enjoying this, but you were going 80 miles an hour, and you know you're about to go 80 miles an hour, and it just felt like a bit of a halt.
Oh, that's what I liked about it. Breathing room.
I would have, if I had to dig it all, I would have preferred a little bit more pacing through the middle. Like maybe don't put all of their memories back to back. Maybe space out that whole like middle section, because as soon as they like find the dungeon, it's almost comical, and you're like, okay, cool. Like it, and actually,
it's definitely comical.
Yeah. It just it was a little bit of a 180. I was with it, but yeah. I think you
once Trevor and the butt puppy show up, I was kind of like, oh no, what are we doing? What's going on with the butt puppy? It's just a butt with legs and wings.
I liked Aquafina's chicken pig.
Chicken pig? Yeah.
Yeah. Chicken pig says so. Like, okay.
And the Trevor thing, and I was like, oh, I don't know about all this, guys. This is turning into a whole different kind of vibe than what we've had so far. But once we got to the mother's home, which is called
Ta Lo.
Ta Lo, thank you. I was in. Yeah, I was 100% in. Like you said, they really went for it. It felt like it had all of this movie had so many things that I want from movies. Some of my favorite things in movies, like martial arts. It's got some Studio Ghibli in there. It's got Raya and the Last Dragon sort of type stuff, which Aquafina was also in.
The creature effects definitely was Ghibli. Absolutely. Yeah.
Very, very cool.
I can't wait to watch this again. I don't know if I'm gonna do another theater visit for it. I probably shouldn't. Why test fate twice?
Right.
But
I want to.
It will be streaming in 45 days.
Oh, that's it. All right, good.
The streaming window or the theatrical window was, instead of doing day and date, they just made a shorter theatrical window. So it's normally 70 to 90 days, depending on the studio. But now it's just 45. So, by Thanksgiving, you'll be able to watch Shang-Chi in your home.
Yes, which I will. Before we wrap it up, what did you compare this to Black Widow, the most recent Marvel movie? Because I feel like I really enjoyed Black Widow, but I walked out of here and I was just like, boy, did this blow Black Widow out of the water.
It was a better movie just altogether. It was a better movie. Like, I think just the story they were the effectiveness and how well they told the story they wanted to was just better. It was just a better movie. But when you compare the two, they were trying to achieve two different things.
Mhm.
So like this had to establish a whole world, completely different character, new and different characters. Like there is a giant info dump in the middle of the movie that should not have worked if it wasn't for Michelle Yeoh. And
God, I
like
love her.
there were so many things that shouldn't have worked in this movie, but because everything was done so well, it did. But then you've got something like Black Widow, which was established characters, established setting, filled in a gap of 2 points in time that were already pre-existing. It just like I think it had less of a lift.
Yeah.
So even though it was fun and it was good and I really enjoyed it and I've watched it 3 or 4 times, this was far and away more impressive because it had a much heavier lift and it did so much better, or it did so well. Right?
That's kind of what I was about to get at, is that it's kind of disappointing because Black Widow has had the benefit of 10 years of Marvel movies ahead of it, right? That she has been a part of in and out. There's so many things to build on. There's so many things to pull from. There's so many ways they could have gone with it. And it's one of those things where we don't need her origin story. We know who she is, right? But instead they're like, nope, origin story for this character that you've been hanging out with for 10 odd years. And it just did not do it, I think, as effectively as Shang-Chi does. And maybe I'm just wowed by the mythical aspects of it, like all the different creatures that are in it, all the otherworldly elements and stuff like that. Whereas Black Widow is 100% just spy movie in Marvel Universe.
Yeah, and I think, and I do not think that this is because I saw it first at home. I would have thought this if it was in the big screen. But when you compare these two movies, Shang-Chi feels like a film, like a movie, and Black Widow feels like a really, really, really well-produced
Episode?
television pilot.
Yeah.
Or a TV show or a Disney Plus series. Like it, no matter which way you slice it, the stakes were so much lower and smaller, so it just felt like a smaller story. So it's like I feel bad comparing them, but between the two, Shang-Chi was definitely the one that I'm glad I saw in the theater, that I'm glad was presented as such. I'm glad that it's doing very well.
Yeah.
It's made like
I keep seeing all the sad boy YouTubers out there who are like, Shang-Chi is prepared to fail. It's destined to fail. It's gonna suck. And then it seems to be doing pretty well.
I mean, it's probably the like lowest Marvel opening.
Yeah.
But we are in the middle of a pandemic with restrictions across the country that are completely different. So you've got like the lack of. So with Black Widow, they had 2 revenue streams at the same time, which made it profitable. You had theaters, which was like 80 million, but then you also had in home, which was 60 million at the same time on top of it, and it made it profitable. With Shang-Chi, they're only doing theaters, and it's made like 85 million or something. In 45 days, when it comes to streaming, I think it's not going to be premiere access. It's just going to be on Disney Plus. So unless it's getting more revenue via new people subscribing to normal Disney Plus, there's going to be no secondary revenue stream other than just like DVD or Blu-ray. So they've got a small window of time to make as much money as humanly possible because the back end is going to be truncated. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting, but I do think that it's 92 or 93% Rotten Tomatoes. That's all like critical. Audience score on Rotten Tomatoes is 99%, which is fucking insane. So it's not only is it being enjoyed by critics, it's also being enjoyed by moviegoers, and it's doing 10 times better than they expected it to. I think they assumed it was going to make 40 or 50, and it's made like 75 or 80 million in the Labor Day weekend. Yeah. So I think it's going to get these characters. We're going to see these characters again. But I do think if it was normal world, this would have been $120 million weekend. Yeah. This would I would have seen this twice in the theater this weekend.
Yeah. I also think that it's so good that it would have gotten a very good buzz. Even if a lot of people didn't go see it on opening weekend, I feel like a lot of people would be telling people, go see this. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, this might. So it's like I said, it's only going to be in theaters for a month and a half. There's probably going to be a lot of people who are waiting for crowds to die down. So like this movie could potentially have legs for the next 3 or 4 weeks. Like still be number one for the next 3 or 4 weeks. Because I think the next big thing that comes out is Venom.
Yeah.
And also too, Venom moved. They moved themselves up. So like it was supposed to come out October 15th, and now it's October 1st. So they're trying to like. Well, like they saw that Shang-Chi did well enough during COVID, so they're like, man, yeah, it literally happened today. They moved the date up.
Guys and gals and others, non-binaries out there, if you are comfortable going to a movie, this is it. This is the one. I also would like to go see Candyman, but I'm not sure that's going to get me into the theater. I might wait for streaming on that. But this one is 100% worth seeing up on the big screen. Take or leave 3D, whatever. The international sales in Asia are going to be huge, says Robert Monroe Jr.
I think they already are.
Yeah, are they?
Yeah, it came out internationally like a week earlier. Here, I'll look it up.
I'm just glad that it's so neat that we have had so many Marvel movies, so much time in the cinema with the Marvel universe, that we're getting characters like Shang-Chi that I never cared about. I never would care if there was going to be a Shang-Chi movie, but at this point I'm like, ooh, give me some more Shang-Chi. He's great. He's awesome. I haven't read many of his comic books. I went back and I read his origin story, where his father is actually Fu Manchu, which was problematic, and also I guess they lost the rights to use Fu Manchu, and then they made it the Mandarin. And I also, this entire time, where I tell people the story of Fu Manchu and how they that wasn't working, so that they weren't able to do that anymore, so then they gave him to made him the son of the Mandarin. I still felt weird. Like, is the Mandarin much better as a representative character? I don't think so. So I like that even in this, it's addressed. He talks about it, and he's like, my real name is blank, and Wu Wen. Wenwu.
Yeah, it was a really good joke about how the best that this American can do is name me after an orange. Yeah, and people still feared him. Like, what the fuck? I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, they named me after a dish.
Oh yeah, a dish. Yeah. So I've looked it up. It looks like it's made 56 million internationally, 90 million domestic so far. So it's 146 million opened for just 2 weeks. Or wait, September 3rd. It opened up September 2nd. September 1st in France. That was the earliest. So like it's been in just 5 days it's made about $150 million. That's great.
I'm glad to hear it. That's awesome. Dan H says, on an unrelated note, I was sorry to see Michael Williams passed away. He was great in Lovecraft Country. Who's Michael Williams?
Tick's father, who's also in The Wire.
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah, he was found in his apartment today. They're suspecting an overdose.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks. I didn't hear that. I thought it had something to do with I did say unrelated. I was like, wait, who is Michael Williams in Shang-Chi?
Nobody.
What's that here?
It is
I wish I could go see
not
this
cool.
Again. Anything else about Shang-Chi before we head on out?
No. Anybody interested in after seeing this movie, if you enjoyed Shang-Chi, the current series by Dean Luen Yang is really good.
Is it?
That first trade is really good. It's 5-issue miniseries. The trade is available now. JD's gonna go grab it for you. I have not read the follow-up, but I did read that first miniseries, and it was pretty damn enjoyable. Are you still trying to find it? You sold out?
It's gone.
So it's got a cover by Jimmy Chung.
I love Jimmy Chung.
He does none of the interior art, so save yourself. But
yeah, I definitely want to read some
but-
Shang-Chi now.
Yeah, I will like nobody really paying attention to him, but Marvel's still doing it. So like the Shang-Chi miniseries that just went on and the one that's currently going on are both really fun. And then the Iron Fist Heart of the Dragon miniseries by Larry Hama that just wrapped up and now that was surprisingly badass. It completely changes the status quo of Iron Fist and that's the second series.
Shang-Chi
Number
versus
2.
the Marvel Universe. Yeah.
The first one is that's the second
Just
one.
Shang-Chi,
Yeah,
right?
it's available in trade. Get it.
Get
And the Iron, and if you liked it, get the Iron Fist one too, because both of them are great. Mystical City, Kung Fu, badassery, and they're very well done.
I did think it was funny as I was watching this, how many mystical Asian cities there are or villages in the Marvel Universe.
At least 7, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's continuity. At least 7, like because they had they established like the 7 cities of heaven or the 7 heavenly cities or whatever it is, right? So like it was Kunlun, Kalo, something. Yeah, there's
and some other ones. Yeah.
just dimensional cities. Yeah, like Fat Cobra and Queen of Spiders, and we need to read that for Action Brubaker run again because they had that amazing arc of just like the tournament of all the cities.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway,
I gotta go do my orders. Guys, go see Shang-Chi. It was awesome. I honestly would go see it right now if I could.
yeah, it
if
was
I wanted
wonderful.
to be in the movie theater again, I'd go right back in and see it again. It was so much fun.
It was pretty wonderful.
Anyway, yeah. So let us know what you thought. If you're listening to this after the fact, after we're no longer live, you can email us at cultpopgo@gmail.com. We will read it on the air. We will get back to you. You can join us here again next Monday at 9:30. 9.
Just 9. Today
9!
was special. It's just 9.
Yeah. Mondays at 9 here, wherever you found this. Hang out with us and come talk to us because we only have each other. That's it. Thank you so much for hanging out with us and fucking off.